let's continue. So the one thing that I want to know with this book, seeing that it's this raw book and it's real, how did you feel when you revealed your truth to your family and your friends, and what was their reaction?
I was quite nervous, I must say, because I come from a very private family. We don't stay outside of the home, but it was more like, if anything happens, then everything gets swept under the carpet type of thing. And, here I come and I'm just like pulling up the carpet and, revealing all of the yucky stuff. And so the one thing that my publisher actually told me is, before you write any further or before you even publish your book, you should have a conversation with, the relevant people in your life, such as my parents and my husband.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously things in the book that he didn't know about, about my past, and I had to really be vulnerable with him about certain things that I struggled with. And it was difficult. It really was. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was really scared, but I wasn't going to let it stop me from writing. I think my mother said something about, she said something in Afrikaans. Oh, dis gaan nou soos 'n koue bak water wees. En dan mense gesê. I'm like, maybe. And she was like, she said, but I know that no matter what I say, you're not going to change your mind. And I'm like, but my words to both her and my dad were, I never wrote the book for the intention of hurting anyone. I tried to be as compassionate and sensitive as possible. But I didn't want to be untrue to how I felt, because it's from my perspective. They have a different perspective.
Yes.
But I needed to make that very clear that it's not, you might have a different side of it, but this is how I felt. This is from my side.
Yes.
And most of the things are things that happen
to you.
Me and
yes.
To me, and some of it I caused to happen to me. Like, so it was very important for me to tell them that, and to make sure they know that I'm not going to stop because of anyone's opinion. Yes, they can give me advice, but I was very determined, and they knew that from the beginning that no matter what they said, I wasn't going to water down my story, because then it's not authentic, not mine. Because now I'm writing to please everyone else around me, and
I get,
it was
that's so powerful. But you can continue. I will touch on that now. No?
Okay. So so it was like a lot of feelings. I was very excited also to tell them about it. But those were the important conversations that I had to have. And obviously, you're not going to tell them everything that is in the book until and let them read it. And I had a very interesting conversation with my mother afterwards.
I wanted to ask you.
But, she's like, your husband about you putting all of this in the book, and I was like,
she did not expect that.
She didn't, because she knows me obviously, and she knows the type of person I'm very private, and my husband also. So for me to just go out and write a book and sort of like reveal all these things that affected us and essentially affected our marriage, it was obviously something that no one saw coming. But then I got the reaction of, a lot of people who are not like my close family and like our friends, and those who read the book, and they were basically thanking me for revealing, being so vulnerable, because
Yes.
now it gave them the permission to do the same and to have a look back at their life. And someone actually told me, why didn't you put a disclaimer on this book before you gave it to me? But yeah, so a lot of really, because I think the thing that my mom was scared about was like, what were other people saying? Mothers,
Yeah.
like, never say mense,
Yeah.
have you
Any
had
men say
anyone
yes?
say bad about it? And,
Mm.
and so far people have been very receiving of it. And, I think it's just, I think my sister read the book 3 times
Yeah.
already. And I mean, we lived in the same house, but it's like
Yeah.
we didn't know what it was. And it was true because we didn't have the relationship where it's like, where she knew everything about me. And so most of the stuff that I wrote about, she didn't have any idea of. So yeah, it was it was mixed emotions and reactions, but all of it, I think it's been really, really good reviews, and people have received it very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is such an important part of or journey during your book, because it's this element, and either way you're gonna touch on it. So, and like you said, we grew up and it's like you can't even say Pratni, like your dirty laundry, So when I also started this platform, I wrote there. Oh, that's how it started it. Growing up, I could share the happy moments so easily, but the ugly parts, talk about that. And so I could understand when you point out that you couldn't satisfy everyone, because at the end of the day, it was about your story. Unfortunately, there's people like our parents that is part of that story. But again, it's not their story. They have their own stories. And, you here to share it, and you're going to share, and you've shared the honest truth. So it wasn't that you gave us half, keep some parts still more, So I love that about the book, and I can totally relate with it. And so this makes me more excited to get the book. Okay. So another thing that I thought of while you were speaking about talking to them, it's difficult because I wrote letters to my parents. So I'm also the shy introvert girl, but once I get to know you, it can bubble. Like we have to give it gaps to speak. So I'm like, I can't. I'm so nervous to speak to my parents about this, because it's gonna be the ugly. It's gonna be deep. It's gonna be those parts, and it doesn't mean necessarily that Daddy, jy's 'n slegte mens, of Mommy, you this and that. But it's about how it made you feel. But it was about how you felt in that moment and how you carried it through. So I think this it's a vital part in when you share your story, and they should just stand back and allow you to. I think they can learn so much as well because they didn't have the platforms, and I sometimes feel so sad. I'm like, wow. How generational cycles get carried over from one to the other because of knowledge, the lack, and the platforms that they didn't have. And here we are, the generational, we're breaking generational cycles, curses, and we focus more on the generational blessings, because in that's also what we take from our parents. It's not just the cycles, it's the blessings as well. What generational blessing and what the cycles that we're going to break. So we're going to speak truthfully about the cycles, the curses, and break them. So it's a tough one, but I'm excited. But yes, let's go to the next one. The biggest challenge, I think you've mentioned this, that the biggest challenge was when it the triggers that came back. But what was the biggest challenge that you faced while writing the book?
I think it was the soul ties, as we call it, the relationship I found myself in, where I gave myself away to people who didn't deserve, that part of me, and I was like I said, I was very reckless about, my body, and I was very naive about what I was giving away, and how much it takes from you. It chips away at your soul, because that is not the values and the morals that I was brought up with. And so, as I was writing, a particular part, about soul ties, and felt that I felt, the shame, that feeling of shame came up, and I was sitting, and I was crying, because I was looking back and remembering, what that part of my life looked like, and how easily it turned out so differently for me, and I was talking to my coach about it, and she said, you are remembering, but it doesn't mean that you are that person. You're no longer that person anymore. You're standing on the other side of, what happened.
Yeah.
And yes, you were the cause of some of those things, but you were broken, and something happened in your life, and that broke you, and then you went to go search for validation elsewhere. The person that you found validation was your father, and the moment he left, you felt like you didn't know where your validation comes from.
Yes.
And so, those feelings came up, and for her to just remind me again of, like, you're not that person anymore. The fact that you're feeling the same now doesn't mean that, you're still that person, but it's because you are remembering, what happened. And so that was something that was very difficult for me, and having to, knowing that my husband was going to read, such an intimate part of my life, and having to know, this is what I went through, or this is what I did, and I was scared of the image that he would have of me, even though. And I have to remind myself, that was back then. I didn't even know that time. And so when he eventually, because he took a very long time to read the book, not because he didn't want to, but he's just not a reader.
Yeah. Yes.
It was like one chapter a month. It was like something like that. It was so funny. And then he eventually finished the book, and I was like, didn't say anything. And he's like, he'll still give me the review. I'm still waiting for the review. So I'm just like, yeah. But to know that he read all of that stuff, and he hasn't treated me differently ever since. So that fear, it wasn't something that came from, I think it was just the devil trying to, put stuff in my head or whatever. But that was a very difficult time for me, and it was difficult to write, because what woman wants to write about?
But
the relationship she was in. But I felt like I needed to do that. So it's part of the story, part of my story.
Yes, and I get you, especially when the journey you've went through, and you put a number to it, and you're like, damn, girl. He said, you're like, Nia, I get you when you say that you could have left so easily parts out to, especially your husband not seeing that side and protecting yourself in a way, like we used to say, like, ik vat die ding naar die graf toe, to the grave. But it was necessary. And in that, it was also a point where you said, but this is no longer part of me. And if it was the case, I believe that if it was the case where you didn't write all of it. It was still gonna be something that sort of like what I say, it's like it's defining you because you give it that power. And it's also what I always say is when we say, what will the people say? What will people say? And that's why we tell our stories, because you own you before they do. I must say, I own you before they do. Because it's your story. They can staircase, they can add something to it. They might still, but you know. Someone said to me, you know what you know, what you know. So that is, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's vital for someone to know that you don't have to walk with that shame. It still comes, but knowing that this is my story, I will share it, will own my truth in all its.
Own my
How did this book impact your life and the lives around you?
The book has impacted me in such an amazing way. I think it has opened up doors and platforms like yours. I've been able to speak at events where, the people are hungry to just hear people's stories and just being able to tell my story and have, have women and people, and even men come to me and telling me thank you for sharing. And, there was this one event where I went to and the question was like, okay, so what do you want to tell us? What is your advice to the mothers, who's also going through a lot of this, with the kids. And so I said that, I can't speak from a mother's perspective because I'm not a mother yet, but I can speak from a daughter's perspective. And what I could share was, just listen to your kids, have that open communication with them. I didn't have that. And so I wish that I had that with my mother. Maybe things would have turned out, a little bit different in terms of how I communicated. So for me, it just opened up a lot of doors and it's opened up possibilities for me to see, maybe this is something that I even want to change careers into. It was I never really thought about it, but now it's like something that's pulling at my heart. Like, maybe, I can, because I love telling stories. So maybe that's something that I'll, do in future to have that as like the main, career for myself. And how it impacted the people around me. I think they see me now in a different light, and it's not a bad light. I think understand me more than what they did before. One friend of mine actually said to me, you know what, I thought I knew you until I read your book, and now I think I really know you, and I just want to say thank you for revealing, the layers of your life, because it set me free. And those words were powerful. Imagine, I just wrote the book, not just for myself, I definitely wrote the book for other people also. But for someone to tell you, by you being vulnerable, telling your story, that you set them free, I think that is a powerful thing. And not to be taken lightly, and that's why I want to do more with it.
You said earlier that you're this introvert, and with us, that's introverts, we don't take compliments as it's difficult. It's so nice to give other people, it comes easily, but it's sort of like because of the past, because of our story, it comes with this that you can't take a compliment. How do you deal with that? And it's not even part of what I wanted to ask, but it just hit me like, ask the question.
You didn't even finish your sentence, and I was like, we're talking about compliment. And I have this thing, I don't know what it is, but And like you said, it has to do with the attachment of our past, of our
Yeah.
trauma. Because I had a very low self-esteem when I was younger, and that's really like, people, see me for my forehead that's too big,
Yes.
and my teeth you, and I have ugly toes, and I have this and that,
Yes.
and that stuck with me for years,
Yeah.
and I had to really sit back and think, but look myself in the mirror and be like, but I'm actually, beautiful, and I can embrace,
Yeah.
my forehead, and I can,
Yes.
rock whatever.
Yes.
Fine,
Yeah.
and that made it very difficult for me, with all the teasing and all of that. It made it difficult for me to really accept compliments. Even now, it's it makes you feel very like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Hi. And then, because my one friend would always tell me, like, if you say something to compliment me, I would always say, I wouldn't say thanks. I don't know why I don't say. I would always say something like, oh, this is so, like, I would always be
Add something.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, add something. And then I would say a thanks, and she would just look at me like, just say thank you.
Just like, yeah, it's the same with me. So I had to ask that question. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I can honestly myself, I become very awkward. So it's still something in myself that I'm like, I'm learning, but I'm conscious about it now more. So I when someone compliments me, I don't immediately say something. I sort of like I make a conscious decision. Okay, you need to now say
Yeah.
thank you, or
I want to know, what would you like, or what message do you hope your readers can take away from Gracefully Broken?
yeah. I think what I'd like people to take away from Gracefully Broken is that, we are all broken. We have all been through trauma. My story doesn't look the same as yours, like you mentioned before, but there's always, I think, something for someone in someone's story. And so I sincerely hope that even if it's just one person who reads my book, and either changes what they were doing before, or have a look into their own life, do some introspection, and see like where is it that they finding like they're not fully healed yet. What feelings are stirred up when you read that book? Because if it's not peace, and I write something about it in Gracefully Broken, if it's not peace that you're feeling when you're thinking of that situation or that specific occasion, then it means that you have not healed from it yet. It means that if peace doesn't come up to the forefront first, and what comes to the forefront is unforgiveness and bitterness, and some comment in your head that you're saying towards a person, then you haven't forgiven that person, then you don't have peace. And you're never going to have peace if you don't reflect and look like in yourself. So I think that is my main thing. It's just to at least start the journey of healing. I'm not saying that you're going to heal from reading Gracefully Broken, but it's certainly going to stir some feelings. It's certainly going to show you some of the layers, and it's maybe something to just sit back with and really think about, and really look at your life a little bit differently.
I can't wait to experience that, and I'll definitely give you feedback. I love that. Where can our rare fans get your book?
You can email me directly or WhatsApp me. The details are on my Facebook page. It's Gracefully Broken by Lehandi Slabbert. So that's my Facebook page. So my WhatsApp number is on there, and you can also put that in the in the description. And then my Instagram handle is Lehandi_Slabbert.
Yes.
So if you want to, you can directly message me there. You can even send me, on Facebook Messenger. My email address, like I said, is also on my Facebook page. So you can do that there. And yeah, so directly, most of my sales is directly from me. So you can order directly from the author, and you'll get yourself a signed copy. And the other way you can get it is at exclusive books in the waterfront in Cape Town. It's only available there currently. Hopefully, we can expand. But yes, and yeah, I make use of tip to tip courier services. I think it fits everyone's budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, my book goes for 200 rand. So with tip to tip, it's just another 60 rand
Yeah.
for the courier services. So yeah, that's all the ways that you can find me.
For that, I will definitely put it in the description box and connect people with you, and they can get that book. I'm so excited. That's my word for the night because I'm just so excited.
So excited, yeah.
Yeah, I was excited for this interview, the chat, and also the book that's coming. So yeah, I have a lot of excitement. What's next? Do you have anything planned? Should we just wait and see and follow you and see what's happening? Do you have any new projects?
Yeah. So the next thing that I would like to work on is my website. And so I have that's on the list.
Yes.
So I've reached out to someone who would be able to build my website for me. And so I'll be starting with that, like more to the end of July.
Yeah.
So that's exciting because that is where I want to actually start to blog, because I just love writing, and I'll be sharing bits and pieces of and quotes that comes directly from Gracefully Broken. So I'll be doing that, and then I have this dream of starting a campaign, a Gracefully Broken campaign, but that's something that is still sort of floating in the air. But it's about getting, women of all shapes and sizes and getting them together. I think you did a similar campaign where you had with the crowns. I like that. So I have something, like that in mind, that I just want to do a campaign where people just share their gracefully broken stories and we just blast it all over social media. So yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to leave my corporate job.
Yeah.
Do it full time.
Do it full time. Yes, that's amazing. Dream big or go home kind of vibes.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if it was like that for you. So it would, for me, it was, I cut it off because for people like me, it doesn't happen. So the whole narrative changed when healing took place, and you're like, I know my worth. I know whose child I am, and so you just move differently. You're like, I dream big. This is what's going to happen. The book actually happened. So it's amazing. My wangen is seer gesmile. Oh.
Really? I can
What advice can you give to the FM watching? If they want to share, scared of sharing their story, or the importance of sharing their story. And if you just want to add anything else before you go.
Okay. Dear Ray family, I think what I can share with you guys is, it's so important to tell your story, and you don't have to, I'm not saying go write a book and publish it to the world, but I'm saying start with a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself and start to write down the things that you feel like you can't forgive yourself for, and then start writing a letter for the people around you that have hurt you, that you feel like you can't forgive, and start writing it down, because there's something very powerful about writing something down and seeing it you know, than it is to keep it in your mind the whole time.
Mhm.
So I think that's important. I think, between myself and Eugene, I think we have come to that point where we've seen the importance of telling our stories and how it has touched many lives. And I mean, your story might have something locked up for the next generation, for the next person. Um, and so I think that is just why it's so important that we share, and that we support one another, as we share. And yeah, I just, I want to say, I want everyone to just have peace. And I know that is not always, the case, because you look at life and you're like, everything is so chaotic, and, um, you know, a lot of things are happening in the world that's making you doubt and really retreat within yourself. But I mean, if you have a community such as, the Rare Fam, or even with Gracefully Broken, and,
Yes.
people are there,
Yeah.
um, you're here to support one another. And yeah, I want us to be able to help as many people as we can. And I know, I'm an advocate for telling stories, and you are also using. I think this is so important, that we help each other. And yeah, just, live your best possible life, even in the midst of, being very scared and living in South Africa with load shedding and everything
Yeah.
going on. Um, but
Yes.
yeah, there's obviously much more, deeper things that, people are, struggling with. Um,
Mm.
but like we also talk about, the mental health and the healing journey, talk to someone,
Yeah.
reach out. I think it's so important that we take care of our, our minds, and our bodies, because the two work together, the physical and the mental. Um, so yeah, just let's take care of one another, and let's support one another. Um, yeah, I think that is, yeah, that's about it. I can say
Thank
so much
you.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We should have teachable spirits. We don't know everything, and so
Yes,
so thank you for that message. I took a lot from it and from your story, and so I can't wait to tap into your book, to get to know you more, and just to find out where I haven't healed,
yeah,
and be like,
yeah.
okay, we have some work to do. But Lehandi, thank you so much. I appreciate this. I know for us it looks like it comes easy, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's still scary sharing those
Mm,
parts, with somebody, especially when you're speaking about it. I feel writing is a bit, you know, not easier, because you still tap into that feelings. But when you
yeah.
also speak about it, it's a different kind of feeling and connection again. So I want to thank you so much.
Appreciate.
I really appreciate it. And I know even if it's one person, they're going to take something from this conversation. Thank you so much, Rare Fam, for being a part of this video, listening in, and just hear this absolute amazing story. And we can all learn, how to turn our pain into power and move. Yes. Thank you once again for tuning in and for watching this video. Don't forget to go and check the details of Lehandi's book in the description box below and get your copy. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss out on any of our stories. Thank you for watching.